do this. Let's get into, if you don't mind, I'd like to get into some of your artwork
Yeah.
and talk about that. That would be really fun because people who do not know this, again, I have Stacy Kamin on the line, and we're going to talk art. For those people who are going to be listening to this audio, you can find the video version of it on YouTube, but this will open up, which I can't really audio pictures. So we're going to go down that road. Okay, so what we've got here is, can you see the screen here?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Stacy Kamin's a website, and we're going to go through several of her pieces of art that she has and talk about her style and how she goes. I want to go to two others right now before this, and this one here I'm going to go into. This is not on her website. This is in a gallery. I just love this painting. This really
Yeah.
just punched out, oh, so much. And we'll talk about this real quick in a minute. And then I want to go to where she's at in the Meyer Gallery. And these are the cathedrals that I talked about earlier. This one here was just like, just they're all basically breathtaking. I do love them, and it's like this is not Notre Dame, correct?
No, this is and I'm terrible with names, so I can't tell you which cathedral this is, but it's in Florence.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful cathedral. I mean, to begin with, just with your work, I can say that this must have been quite a sight just to paint, but the work actually, which is what I like about this type of work, it brings out the same expression as I would have walked into it, you know. And I never walked into this, but if I had walked into it, I probably would have the same expression that I'm having now just looking at the painting.
Yeah.
Um, that's one of them, and I think you had this one here, which is this the same cathedral?
This is Notre Dame.
This is Notre Dame. Is
Yeah, so I've done different variations. This is one with like there's a nun and I don't know I guess he's like a priest. They're praying and they're side.
that is, I mean, your strokes and your values and your tones just are really good. It all goes together is kind of what I'm seeing. I mean, there's nothing that just stands alone. Everything in this painting to me is all the color has to work with everything else in it, and there's no one color that just says I'm here by myself and don't know what to do. I mean, it's like
Oh, thanks.
it's really
They all
good.
know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw that in. What the hell? Okay, and here's another one. Uh, Within Sacred Walls is what it's called, and the gate work uh, is quite astounding. The floor work is also quite. I'm not going to question you on all three, but this one particularly. How long did this take to do? It's a
It's
16 by 12.
Yeah, this I have to say that like I can't tell you exactly how long it took, but it's interesting. Like some paintings are just come easier to me than other ones. Like they're so this painting just came, it was pretty fast. I don't know why, because it was complicated, but I think I was thinking about doing this for a long time, and
Mm.
I didn't attempt because I thought it was just really difficult. And then when I did it, it just came. So I
Was
probably
this,
been thinking about it for a long time.
yeah, was this one of those in the zone paintings?
Yeah, and this was from Spain, a cathedral
Mm,
in Spain that I did sketches when I was on this trip. Well, all my trips I end up they're like sketching trips. Um so and then yeah, and then when I came home I had the picture, but I like I said I didn't attempt to do this for a really long time.
I can see why, because you're right. I mean, I know you don't have the full detail of what you are probably visually seeing on this, but what you put in your painting as far as the detail, that's a lot. That's a lot of detail.
Yeah, it was just trying to get wanted this the it to look enormous, the
Mm.
cathedral and the light and I just never this is different from the other cathedrals, I think.
So you said it didn't take a long time. Are we saying a couple days, a week, a month,
Probably like um I think with probably 3 weeks or
3
something.
weeks?
Yeah.
Beautiful,
Thank you.
beautiful. Like that. Like that a lot.
Mhm.
Okay, this guy. Oh, love this. I mean, this. I want to know the background on this one. I mean, where were you, and how did this come about? It's called In the Kitchen.
Well, you know, I love painting people working and movement. I think that has to do with being into animation and
Mm,
like
mm.
the action kind of. And so this is a restaurant in Los Angeles that I would always go to. It's called Banderas, and they're not open anymore, but the chefs were cooking. It was an open kitchen, so as you're eating, you can see them cooking, and so I just love the atmosphere and the cooks feeling like, you know, you can just feel like what their next move will be.
Yeah.
I'm all, uh,
It looks like they're not sure what their next moves are going to be.
yeah.
But the color, I mean, you've got a tone here that just it all seems to mesh and work together. I mean, I could see where you could add certain colors in here that would just make it wrong, but you kept within a spectrum uh, of colors that just everything. I mean, the bottom right hand of this painting to the top left, and then the chefs in the middle. I mean, it just it's like your cathedral. It all blends.
Oh, thank you.
It
Thank
all
you.
it all blends. And
It was fun to paint, you know.
okay, so I see it being loose, and I see most of yours being loose. And how long would this one have taken? It's a 11 by 14 that you got.
I I don't know. I don't know. Some of my paintings I start them pretty fast and get into it, and then I get to a point where sometimes I the finish, like the real finish,
Yeah.
um takes me longer,
Mm.
and I just put it away and come back to it, or
Mhm.
have it on the like I'm not ready to totally finish it.
I find that with my own paintings too. I find it's like an 80-20 rule. I'll get the first part of it done really quick. I mean, pretty quick, and get it out there. But it's coming back to that 20% of finishing it out that takes the longer piece. And do you have trouble with which I do, of saying this needs to be there in this painting and this doesn't need to be in the detail part of it, or does that hang you up at all?
Well, so it's back to that idea that I try to get with my paintings. Like, is this putting in all the detail, is this helping my main idea, or is
Oh,
this
okay.
taking away from my idea? Like,
Got you.
I might put it in and say, wait, is this takes away from my idea? Like, I don't want the viewer to look there. That's not what I want. So,
That is that's some really good information. I mean, I like that. I look at it doing a painting to, of course, as an artist, get it done, and of course it's a subject matter, but this sticking with this idea part, that really says something to me, that it's like, don't scurry away or vary away from what you initially thought of what you wanted. Stick with what stays with you, and don't necessarily change it. And if it changes, change it back. Don't lose it, kind of a thing. uh, that's the impression I'm getting, Stacy.
yeah, like there's definitely like, okay, so if you see this painting, and if I would have seen a fold in in the guy's shirt, and that's facing us, the lead into the painting. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
If I would have put so much detail there, and then put like so much contrast, light, dark there, that would have taken away from my idea that he's a whole dark, he's in shadow, and then all those three people are in light. Like,
Right,
he holds them together.
right,
He's
right.
framing them. So if I would have ruined that and put so much detail there and so much value difference, like contrast, it would have taken away from them.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
So I have to not do everything I seek, but do things that will help what I want to happen.
Interesting. No, that's um these are, yeah, shoes. I love that. Then the paint tubes I love too. Um, let's take one of these. I'll probably take this one right here, and I forget what this one was called. This is a
It's
yellow
called a
rose.
yellow rose.
Yeah. What Stacy, what brings me out on all of your paintings, without a doubt, it definitely the tone, the values, the lights and the shadows. Uh, One other thing does, it's your brushwork.
Hmm.
It's it's really good. Um, I'm quite impressed with it. As far as in this one, I'm quite impressed with where the brush has made its way, even the on the edge of the vase. I mean, it's just not all straight, not all one color, which is what a lot of painters would do.
Mhm.
You bring out so much in your value scale, which I'm a pretty much do the same thing myself. I believe in values. They are just high end on my priority list. Is the values play a lot in it. Lights and shadows, I'm just falling in love with. I think that has a lot to do with it too. But is this, again? I know it was a simple, vase on a table with a yellow rose in it. Is this just a back to that idea thing, that there's there's a stroke of light that I want that to shimmer on the painting, and that's my idea, and that rose? Or was there a different idea on this one, if you can remember?
Well, so I set this up in front of me. So this was from life. And so I set um it up where you set it up to it's like um you set up something beautiful that you want to paint,
Right.
I'm excited to paint. And so like sometimes that idea is like, why do I think it's beautiful, or what's inspire me? So sometimes I don't have to intellectually say what it is.
Got
Sometimes
it.
see it. But
Hmm.
I think I could say that it's like that the yellow flower, and it directs your eye to that apple on the table that takes you around to those grapes and up and around. So the whole painting is kind of like taking you around.
Right.
So I guess it's the color and light kind of, going around the painting.
Question that
I don't
may
know.
be of interest or not. Where did you learn your color? Was this a LaFell thing? Because you definitely have value tones in here that just are cloudy and left in the back, which are perfect on some of these leaves. And to get those, to know to put them in there. I mean, uh, you said you set this up. Were those the actual values that you were seeing at the time?
Um, yeah, yeah. I saw that this was a while ago, so I don't remember,
No, I
but
get it. I get it. I get
no,
it.
it's definitely like I paint when you set up a still life, you can paint, you set it up to something that's beautiful. So I don't, so it's already, I did all the work there, so I can paint what I see. So
Okay.
that's just what I saw. And I'm sure you could paint a different version of it a different way. But and color mixing, I just kind of you know um it's so hard to explain without showing you,
Oh,
how
I hear the reason I brought this up is I'm in Texas, so yellow roses mean something
yeah.
to me to a certain extent. So
Oh,
it's like it kind of comes in, but it does show a really a good gradation
oh, thank
of
you.
your colors and your values and the like. Let's go to, I guess one of them would be another part would be not the still lives. Which would portraits, are you doing these portraits? Because I do
From
portraits. Are they people who models who sit?
I've done a lot of self-portraits. Like they're a lot, like that's me with the red scarf.
This is you?
Yeah, looking in the mirror.
Oh my gosh. I mean that
It
that right
doesn't
there.
look exactly like me, but it's really
No,
hard
it
to
really
self-portrait.
it 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 doesn't, but again, it's your strokes and oh, there was another lady that I'm was trying to interview, and I forget her name off the top of my hand. It's like probably like remembering my paintings. You know, you can't remember every one and what you were at the time, but she does similar stuff like this that is just it's basically breathtaking of how it works, and this is also the same. Um, does your light curious. Does your light guide you on this more than the colors?
This is my light. Well, mostly it's like I want to keep I'm always like I want to keep my shadows together. I want to keep the lights together. I'm always
Mm,
It's like shadow side, light side. Um,
okay.
so all my lights on the face are the same value, but they're different temperatures.
Right.
And so I want to keep them organized. And so the value, like it's even like so it's more about values, I would say, than color here. But my
Yeah,
brush
yeah.
strokes are very important. Every brush stroke, I want to describe the form. It's like the topography. David LaFell, there's a really good on YouTube if you look up David LaFell in Brushstrokes. He
Hmm.
really describes brush strokes, and they're very important, like you say. Like I just love how I put a lot of I just built up that paint in the scarf with the red.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like coming forward. um but
LaFell, I will watch some video of his, and he was against the ones who played with the brush all over the canvas. He was like, every brush stroke means something. So,
yeah.
watch your brush strokes, because the one that you make, is the one that has to say something. And that's what I got out of LaFell. And I started going down the road of, I don't it's probably with other painters. I started going around of impressionists and painters, real impressionism. You do is what is called, I heard, abstract realism. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, so it's like pieces of paints. So it's abstract because if you look close, it's just pieces of paint, but it's it's realist. It's a portrait, right?
Right, right.
So it it makes it more. I mean, if you look at a lot of artists, they do portraits, but they don't, like lately I've seen this, they don't build up the paint. There's no paint on the canvas.
Hmm.
Very not painterly, but it's harder to use paint to mush it around to make it something.
So what's your secret?
What's my secret? That's
Yeah.
just having fun and painting and enjoying it.
Well, you don't believe in mushing it around, then you believe
Yeah.
in more of the stroke itself. That
Oh,
whole,
what's my secret on that? Oh, my secret
yeah,
on
yeah.
that.
Oh, I'll find out.
I
I'll
did not
ask.
do.
I'll ask.
No, my secret is I love I think, okay, all the work is done on my palettes, on mixing. It's not
Okay.
done on my canvas. I figure everything out on my palette. I keep my palette very organized. So my dark colors are separate from my light colors. And I keep separate brushes, a light brush, a dark brush. I want to be very organized. So if my palette's a mess, I know my painting's a mess. So um
Interesting.
it's all about how you mix the paints and mixing enough paint that you have enough paint on your palette to pick it up and make a beautiful brush stroke. If you're don't have enough paint on your brush and to make a nice brush stroke, you don't, you're not like paint like a millionaire.
Yeah, I've heard that one too. I mean, that's kind of where I need to go, because I find, it's even in the plein air artists who are out there. I mean, it's amazing what they can go outside with a little, like, 8 by 10,
Yeah.
and put it up on this big old friggin' easel that, just doesn't need, it could hold anything. And they just don't need a lot of paint. They just do a little bit of paint and they get beautiful art, but it's not a lot of paint. Where I come in, I could do an 18 by 24, 16 by 20, and then I can do a 36 by 36 or 48 by 48. And it's like, how much paint do I put on my freaking palette? I mean, it's like, God, I got to use a lot of paint. And it's like, if you're used to doing it small, and this is a problem I think I see with artists, they do small, then they don't need a lot of paint, and they get in a mode of not using a lot of paint because they don't need it. But if they start upgrading themselves to larger canvases, and then it's like, well, now I've got to double my mixture, now I've got to triple my mixture, now I've got to really put it out there. And that's even harder because now I've got not only just a little brush full, I've got a big brush full of
Mm.
paint to get the same stroke on a larger canvas than I did have to do on a little bitty piece of canvas, and that's a little bit, that's hard for me to do because I've not mastered I've not mastered the palette well enough to know how much paint to put on it. And
Mm.
you are suggesting what I've heard from other artists, just put a lot of paint on it.
That's the only way you learn how to control pain is to overdo it, and
Mm.
then you'll know how to put like a light color over a dark color and not mess up what's underneath it, and um, just to control it better.
All your painting alla prima?
No, I mean, I work on paintings for a while, so um at first it's the first day it might be wet on wet. Second day, things are dry, so I'm working into it. So it's not all, but you know, it
Which one do you prefer?
well, I mean, even the second day when I get into it, I pretty much work in what, like, I don't know, both
Both.
ways. It's
Yeah.
just different,
Well, I could see with the cathedrals and stuff that it takes time, so that paint's going to dry up, so it
is
can't
that
be wet or wait. I mean,
yeah.
and if you work from 9 to 5 and not after 5 into the next day, yeah, I don't this I am a layer painting. I'm pretty much a dry layer, just a layer. You could call me like a Photoshop guy. It's just one layer on top of another layer on top of another, because it's like I'm done. Maybe after sometimes I'm as little as an hour. I'm done with it for right now. I want it to set, not even to set. I just want to get away to get another little view in my head, and then I'll come
Absolutely.
back, tomorrow. So it's like,
Yeah,
and then it's dry, and I say, okay, now it's dry. Now you start doing medium or whatever to keep it going, and make it. Do you agree with that? Do you see no problem with that?
yeah, no problem.
There we
No.
go. See, I got an art instruction from an art teacher, and that's what I love. I mean, now I'm doing it right. Okay, so anybody else who does that, now they know that they're fine too. So, but I do notice, I guess is why I brought up the Alla Prima, is I do notice the ones who are absolute, I mean, they're strict Alla Prima. They don't do it any other way. Um, those are people that I
That
admire.
day. Oh, okay.
I admire those people because I don't know how they do it, but
Yeah.
they just have the stroke down. They have the like you said. I think you're right. They have a, like you do. I think they also have a palette down. They know exactly what's on that palette, and they can just scoop it up and then scoop up another one and scoop up another one and just keep on going. And it's like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just depends, like, if you're like, if I go outside and paint, then it's alla prima because I'm just working on it for that certain amount of time. But if I want to take it further, it's not just alla prima. So so it's just having different options, you know?
Well, all of your paintings are good. Stacy has talked a little bit about sketching, and I've looked into her sketching work, which is quite phenomenal. I'm not a big sketcher myself, but these are sketches that she's done, and these are all prep for you, correct? I mean, these we'll stop right here and look at these two. This is all prep work before you start getting into. Is it for compositional proportion, whatever? What is this supposed to get the idea, or how's this work?
Well, it's basically like these are, well, I think sketching I really really enjoy it so much, and I love it when I'm traveling. These are actually um the one on the right is at the airport on the top, and then the statue is when I got to France. Um, so it's like a journal for me also. Um, and, um, and I got into like contour sketching, which, it's really good, practice for hand and eye coordination. So, and it takes me into this like meditation state. So it's so great. But also the sketches really do help with ideas for paintings for me also. But these two sketches weren't the case. That I never did a painting from these sketches. I haven't done that. Um, but you know, for painting, knowing how to draw is so nice because you'll know where to make that bold brush stroke in the right place.
Mm.
That's where
I yeah.
sketching comes in because your hand and your eye are so connected that you know where that stroke will go. Um,
I
yeah.
I agree with you 100%. The only problem that I've got is that I'm not this illustrative. You definitely have an illustrator's handiwork. This is definitely there, though it's not as illustrative as I've seen. But I think this goes back to your animation
Yeah.
scenarios that you were getting into and stuff like that. It does reflect that. So it did help to go down that road for you,
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, you know, the sketching, the more I do it, the more I improve my hand and my eye coordination.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's kind of like a learned thing. The more even, so anyways, I like to practice it and do it. And I wasn't always, I was like in school, I really struggled with it. There was kids that were so much better than me. I remember going out and sketching with them at a playground or whatever, and I was so frustrated. Nothing I did looked good, and I, but finally I came to the day where I kept on doing it. I kept on practicing, and finally I was like, wow, I could something. It was just a click.
Mm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
I think as artists, I think we all eventually find out what our worth is and where we're meant to be and what we're
Yeah.
supposed to be doing, what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are, and build on those strengths and sometimes just chuck the weaknesses,
Yeah.
if not build on those at times. So
Yeah.
uh, that's that's kind of where it is. Stacy, I appreciate you coming on board. It has been absolutely a wonder. You've opened up your doors, and as always, we appreciate that to let us see other artists and how they do their work and their job, and yours is quite amazing. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you. And
Nice to meet.
I want to see your work now.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
we'll,
yeah, I'll have to.
we'll
Thank
get it. And I like you bringing on your new friend because that he's a cutie. That's another cutie. Well, Stacey, this is Phil McNally, and this is Artist to Artist, and we're glad to have everybody on board. We appreciate it, and stay in touch, and we will be coming back at you. Thank you very much.
you so much. Bye, Phil.
Bye bye.
It was so nice to meet you. It was fun. Thank
No, it
you.
was fun.